Yep, we're ready? Okay. I'd like to call the Weston Village of Weston Board of Trustees meeting to order. If we all stand for pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. And if we could do a roll call.
Maloney,
Here.
Ermeling,
Here.
Cronin,
Here.
Feeney, Hardinger,
Here.
Wyland, Sagami,
Here.
Is Jamie on?
She dropped out, but I think she's.
Try to get back on. Okay, she should be noted as on, but Nate is absent. Public comments, I believe, I've got Cindy Russell was first. Cindy, if you want to up to the podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Russell. I live at 5907 Tricia Avenue in Weston. The Village of Weston website states the municipal center total cost, which include a land purchase and or other overheads, is $16.6 million in taxpayer debt. It is estimated this project will increase the tax rate by an average of 86 cents per thousand of assessed value, property value over the 20-year repayment term. However, the actual tax rate for this debt will vary year by year based on the final project cost repayment schedule for bonds, fluctuation in interest rates based on market conditions and village growth rate. This municipal debt does not return any real estate taxes to the village because it is a public building. Per the McIver Institute, with adding a newly constructed municipal center to the taxable levy base, the taxpayers not only pay the 86 cents per thousand of assessed value for the municipal fund, but also pay the increased county levy limits due to the net construction. TID was to mature in 2021 and was extended another 10 years because of insufficient funds to close it. The village also amended TID 1 to add $23.4 million worth of property to the TID last year. Therefore, there will be no return on investment to the taxpayers for another 10 years through property relief. According to the village's year-end financials for 2020, TID 1 was pulling in an unbelievable $5.8 million in tax revenue. If TID 1 had closed as scheduled, that money would have gone directly toward tax relief. In a recent meeting, the village was wondering how to fund additional police officers. State law only allows the municipality to have up to 12% of its total equalized value contained in TIDs. The village had 21% of its total tied up in TIDs. The 21% has enormous implications for residents of the village. It is real property that requires public services from the community, things like police and fire protection, ambulance, schools, snow plowing, etc. However, the property in the TID is not paying property taxes to the general fund to support those services. It all goes into the TID account, which is used for TID improvement projects instead. Wisconsin currently has the distinction of holding the 45th of 50 states with the highest real estate taxes. Only New Jersey, Illinois, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Vermont have higher real estate taxes. As a constituent, I sincerely believe the village needs to take care of its residents. Families are struggling financially with record high inflation and still recovering from the pandemic. I wholeheartedly support closure of TID 1 to give relief to taxpayers and ask that you vote yes on closure. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. We have another speaker and be Gail Marshall. You speak your name and address for the record.
Gail Marshall at 4503 Estate Drive in Weston. The MacGyver Institute wrote how 20% of our land is in a TID district. That means that this land, TID 1 is the industrial park. It includes St. Clair's Hospital, and all of the rehab centers along the way. Every police call, every ambulance call, every snow plow road in that TID 1 area is not supported by the property taxes from that area, but yet it is going into the Economic Development Fund exclusively. This has been happening since 1998. So where were you in 1998? A few of the board members were probably in high school or elementary school. Yes, 24 years we have been subsidizing this area. In 2021, the Department of Revenue report shows that $8.9 million in revenue was brought in to TID 1. We have the distinction at the county of now exceeding $1 billion in equalized value in the county-wide TIF area. And that's the February 2nd record review article if you would like to take a look. $1 billion is not supporting our county, it's not supporting our school districts, and it's not supporting the operations of this village. I encourage you to subtract land from the TID that you have not already obligated and return that to the property tax roll and help fund all the services that the rest of us are paying for.
Thank you, Gail. Number 4, public hearing. Open public hearing to consider an amendment to figure 3-1, Village of Weston future land use designations and policies in volume 2, vision and directions of the village's comprehensive plan. And ordinance number 22-015, an ordinance to amend components of the village's comprehensive plan consisting of amendments to the figure 3-1 Village of Weston future land use designations and policies contained in volume 2, vision and direction. Open the public hearing. Jen, is this yours?
This is fine.
Okay. Is that just
So the
that?
Plan Commission is recommending that the board make this change to the comprehensive plan. Essentially, it is a change to the figure in the, basically the division, the vision and directions, volume 2 of the comprehensive plan. There's a chart that that we utilize for when a rezone request is given to the Plan Commission. This would allow for them to entertain smaller lots on well and septic. So that's the major change on it. The Plan Commission is recommending approval.
Okay. Is this, are we looking for public comment at this point or action?
You can ask for public comment.
Mm-hmm.
If there will be.
Okay. Is there any public comment on the hearing to amend figure 3-1? Ordinance number 22-015? I don't think anybody's here for this. Okay, hearing none. I'm gonna close the public hearing. And discussion amongst the board.
I move to approve ordinance number 22-015.
Motion by Cronin, second by Ermeling. Any more in the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Minutes from previous meetings, 6/2022 Board of Trustees meeting and also 6/28/2022 Board of Review. If you do both at the same time. What's your pleasure? Motion to approve by Hardinger.
Second.
Second by Zagami.
Is that 5 and 6?
5 and 6, correct. Okay. Anything on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Reports, minutes from boards, committees, and commissions. We've got a report from finance, and one from public works. Anything else to add? Or is it in the packet if you want to acknowledge?
Motion to acknowledge 11 and 16.
Motion by Ermeling, second by Cronin. Any more on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Reports from departments, 19 administrator. Keith?
So first of all, certainly want to welcome Pam Brame as our new clerk. I think most of you have got to meet her. You're into week 3 now,
Yep,
first day, so anyway, getting oriented and elections are coming up here for the August primary, so I'll let her give her own little report later. I think she's-
Okay, that sounds good.
I think we covered a lot of the things I had in my report, mainly regarding the building and the joint meeting. I did speak to Kristen Fish Peterson about possibly putting together an RFP, entertain potential development proposals for this property. That was a suggestion that if it could be eligible for some specific kind of funding, that would be the recommended approach to take, but I'll find out more about that, I guess, between now as soon as I can, so.
And in case somebody hasn't heard, but all the soil samples that REI did on this property all have come clean.
Yeah, I'll share that report with everybody. They didn't find levels of anything that would be a red flag is what they said, which was kind of surprising.
Yep.
They did, I spoke to Kim Lassa earlier today again and suggested maybe we could just get confirmation from the DNR. I know that'll cost a little more time and effort to get that done, but I could follow up on that if you like.
Yep. Well, as you know, the quicker the better. We just want to convert this back to taxable property, so
Right.
that'd be great.
I guess one other thing, and I didn't put it in my report, but when there is a desire, I guess, for the board to have us perform work, just as we have an attorney referral item on the agenda later. I think we should add a similar item at the end of the agenda for requests of work by the staff. Because I think there becomes a perception that maybe we're working on something because it's mentioned at a committee meeting or something else. And really, I think we need some clarity from the board as to what their desires are. Because we have, there's other things that have been put on the agenda, I guess. As we go into our strategic planning effort, hopefully that we'll have more sense of direction, I guess, is where what the priorities are. But I know, things change, we need to look at certain things. And if there's a desire for the board to have us do that, then I guess we need to have the sense that there is a consensus for us to do, to spend our time and effort on that.
Yep. I mean, I'm just gonna take responsibility for a phone call I made to Sean. And it's just not the way you're supposed to do it. I have no power unless I'm with the rest of the trustees, but I called Sean up because I just get a little goofed up when I go by the Aero Bar or by Cluck's Bar and I see the weeds about 4 or 5 feet in the air. And actually, Steve is my neighbor, so I happened to mention it to him and he goes, it's not parks, that's DPW. And I go, oh God, you're right. So anyway, I'm gonna apologize to you, Sean, because you were all excited with my phone call until I started talking. And then I could just feel you going, So I gotta just tone that down a little bit. So anyway, but I do. And I know there's other issues that you're talking about too, so. Okay. Okay, clerk, you're not blued out with a no report, but you wanna just talk about it a little bit?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for welcoming me here. And I'm very happy to be here. And everybody in the village staff has been awesome. So, and looking forward to continuing to work with everybody. We're working on the election that's coming up on August 9th, and Sarah has been awesome helping me prepare for that and with everything that she knows, which is a lot. And so we're hoping for a very successful election. And
All in one spot again, Dale's, right?
yep, it's all at Dale's.
Yep, good. Okay, good, welcome aboard.
Well, thank you.
After the first week, I had to come over here for a meeting and maybe some signatures, and when I saw Pam, I just said, would you change again? Is this the right decision? He goes, absolutely, so it was good to hear, welcome aboard. Finance, Jessica, any more to add?
So yeah, I put the January report in there, so I'll give you a quick update. So our 2021 audit is complete. We got the reports late last week. So if you want a hard copy, I can get it to you after the meeting. Otherwise, I'll hand them out at the next meeting. I am trying to get our auditor scheduled to come present the audit. Just give you an update of if they found anything and anything coming up audit related, so.
Okay.
Other than that, I have been working with police chief to get the numbers for the police contract negotiations. After that agreement, I'll start working with them to get some good numbers for the marketing for the referendum. But
Okay.
right now, we're not quite there yet. The accounting for the pool is going really well. We are cutting checks to the Village of Rothschild weekly because we take in all credit card payments into our bank account. So in order to keep the cash flow in their pool, we do cut them weekly to them. They're around $3,000 a week that we're cutting to Rothschild. Other than that, we're moving a little bit slower in finance, so if you see stuff that's not happening or if you, just let us know. Both Song and I have some new things that we're trying to get done and, things are just moving a little bit slower, so. But if you have questions, let us know.
Sounds good. Thank you. Fire and Mess, Chief.
I got the report in the packet. The only other thing I have to add is, the district does make one, large purchase about every 25 years. That is our, ladder truck, our large platform. We opened bids at our last board meeting for that. We sent out RFPs to 4 different companies, for that truck. We received 2 bids back. We did accept the, lower of the 2 bids. And then that, we met with that company, which is Pierce out of Appleton, and they're represented by Pomisol Fire Equipment out of Antigo. So we met with Kevin from Pomisol late last week to go over some, modifications and changes. So he is working on getting updated, drawings. We're certainly well within budget. So, that vehicle will, however, take a minimum of 2 years to build. It's 24.5 to 25.5 months from the time that we sign the contract, which isn't done yet. So we're a little over 2 years out. So by the time the truck gets here, the truck that it's replacing will be a little over 26 years old.
Okay.
But other than that, nothing significant. Everything is moving along normal.
Good. The other bid, just so you know, was Seagraves out of Clintonville.
Yep.
Both Wisconsin companies, and I thought that was pretty well. I learned at that meeting that the number one builder is Pierce.
Yeah, they're a very large company.
And Seagraves is huge. Seagraves is New York.
Yeah.
And right now Seagraves out of Clintonville is 64 pieces of equipment behind for New York right now. So it's, wow.
And they just opened another location here on Wausau, on McIntosh Street.
Good. Park and Rec, I don't see you blued out, Sean, but you wanna talk?
I do not have a report in the packet. I was out of the office, part of last week. Basically, pool operation's been running along pretty smooth. It's been quite busy. Obviously, we're gonna be quite busy again this week. We're hoping to meet, I think it is the first week of August. We set up a preliminary date to meet with YMCA to start discussing the future as our agreement ends, this third season of the 3-year agreement. So we'll start discussing that as we go into budget preparation for 2023. Otherwise, pretty much business as usual. The parks have been very busy though, as far as rentals and stuff like that. So, and now with the rain, the grass is growing again. And so pretty much working on that. We did remove at least one hazardous tree off the Brook Court entrance on the trail that was hanging over the bridge, which was done late last week. And we lost quite a few trees due to that storm late last week. So we do have other trees to cut down and trim up and get off the edge of the trail down there this week, so.
Okay, thank you. So not only did I call you about the wrong department, you were also on vacation too?
No, you called me the week before.
Oh, I did, okay, all right, my God.
I think it was a Saturday
Could've been horrible.
or a Friday, I don't know. I was working on a ball diamond when you
Any
called me.
Sunday,
So.
yeah, just go ahead, and throw me. All right, we'll
Did you
take,
notice it was done though?
huh?
You noticed it got done?
Now I'm working on clocks. Is clocks done too? That's like 5 feet. Planning and development. No, I know. I gotta celebrate the wins. I do. You're right.
The only thing I have to add is check your emails. Today I sent out a link to a survey that the RPC released on the housing project that we're in, or the housing plan that they're working on for the metro area. So I did post that on Facebook, and we're looking for feedback on that survey, and then they will start having some open houses. So if anybody needs hard copies of the survey, that was attached there too. It's also in Hmong and Spanish.
Yep. You can't respond from that though, right? You'd have to print out the hard copy and then send it in that way, right?
No, well, yeah, if somebody needs a hard copy, we can get that for them.
Okay.
Otherwise, you just click the link and
Oh.
it'll take you to a Survey Monkey
Okay.
and just fill it out.
Okay, I'll find some neighborhood kid to help me with that, so. Good. Please, chief.
Yeah, as Jessica said, we're working with, the municipal leaders met with the union, and I thought the first meeting went well. Jessica put together some numbers for the, salary proposals or wage increases as suggested, so hopefully get a meeting next week. Their second meeting to go over those numbers.
You'll do a poll on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also looking in the near future, get a joint finance meeting again, it's, budget's done for, or I'm sorry, the, audit was done, so we gotta get that number, out to everybody on joint finance. So budget reports for June are looking well. There's a few things like gasoline is over, as you can imagine. Other than that, our newest hire's got a couple weeks in shadow phase and we'll be fully staffed and everybody will be on the road for the first time, I think, since 2017, so.
Are you fueling with a card now?
Yep, through Quick Trip.
Okay, good. Good. All right, thank you. Public Works? And then, just so you all know, for the chief, we've got some extra documents that came from Pam that, I don't know, we just didn't get them in the packet right away.
Correct, yeah.
So just so you know, there's some,
Yeah.
different, stuff there, okay? So just so everybody knows. Public Works, Michael.
Yes, the one item of note is, in June, we submitted, 3 different, grant projects, to the Wassa MPO for funding. There were 6 total projects applied for. So, I'm hopeful one of the 3 that we submitted, if not maybe 2, end up getting funding. But those were a joint project with Schofield for Ross Ave from Metro Drive to Alderson. A joint project with the town of Weston from Ross Ave, or on Ross Ave from River Bend out towards, Mock Miller Park. And then the Schofield Ave from Normandy to Birch Streets within, the TID number 2 boundaries there. So we had asked for essentially $10 million and there's $10 million available, but I don't think we're gonna get all of it. So, but I believe there were 16 million asked for, between the 6 projects. I guess that's maybe the main one. The utility projects are ongoing, coordination with the DNR for the wells as well as the, temporary PFAS treatment. We should be getting that, the temporary treatment system is being shipped on July 29th, so we should be getting it in place then in early August there, once it gets here. And I guess the Northwestern Avenue project, we did get the 90% plan submitted to DOT and the 100% plan should be submitted this week, so it'll meet the August 1 date for that funding for next year's repaving project.
And that's already been decided?
Correct, yeah, we've been awarded that grant.
Yep, okay.
Yep.
And then, start to finish on Ross Avenue, going around to Mock Miller Park, where does it start again?
At River Bend.
Yep, and then it
ends at,
around the corner.
and then it goes around the corner and up to Paul's,
Okay,
which is on the north side of the park.
all right, good. All right, that's it? All good?
That, and then we do have a new Public Works operator starting this coming Monday, so.
Okay. Replacing the vacant one?
Replacing the vacant one that left about a month ago.
Okay. Nate,
Nothing to add to our report. If you have any questions?
you're busy with the new building?
We're starting, with the design for the new
Mhm.
AV system. So that should be done this week. And I'll go out for bids.
Okay.
And I've been snooping around, just making sure.
Okay.
Everything's where it should be, so.
Sounds good. Right.
President Maloney,
Yes.
I'm here. I apologize for the delay. I was having some phone-related technical issues.
All right, thank you, Nate. Let the record show that Nate joined the meeting at 6:27. Okay. Did we answer whatever you needed? Okay, good, thank you. All right, approval, reports, acknowledge, right? Or not?
I don't think we have to vote.
No, we don't have to, you're right,
Yeah.
you're right, all right. Work product transmittals, June building permits, and number 29, June budget status report. Together or separately?
Motion to acknowledge item 28, 29.
By Hardinger. Second by Zagami. Beats you, Nate. Any more in the discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So carried. So that was Hardinger and Zagami on the first and second. Consent agenda. Any requests for pull-out items? Otherwise, we have vouchers. New Class B beer and liquor license for Full Zone LLC for 2022-23. New Class B beer and liquor license for Wiggly Field and Dome LLC for 22-23. Take them all together? Okay,
Motion to approve 31, 32, and 33.
by Ermling,
Second.
second by Hardinger. Any more in the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 So carried. Thank you. Nothing under ordinances, nothing under resolutions. Unfinished business, update on American Rescue Plan ARPA funds.
Yeah, we updated for those that were at the board meeting or at finance, we did receive the second half. We received 1.1 million on June 9th.
Okay. It just popped in the bank account. Any notice or anything?
I got no notice. I
Yeah.
didn't realize until I was reconciling the bank account.
Jeez.
That was a good
Wow.
surprise.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere, right? I mean, does everyone have the same date all across the country or what?
I don't
I
think
mean,
so.
I just,
We applied for that. We had to, they notified us when we had to apply for the second half. I did my part, you did
Yep.
yours, but that was the last I heard from them.
wow, interesting. Yeah, that'd be a heck of a surprise. Okay, so there's the update. 36 proposal and scope for strategic planning by RAP Consulting Group.
So this is the proposal is directed to refine from last meeting. So that, I guess the question was just how many focus groups we may want to have them set up. Seems like 5 is a pretty good number. One year is suggested to be made up of members of different commissions of the village. The others would be a mixture of, community leaders, citizens, residents, I should say, and, business owners. So I guess those are, the names that we would contact, still to be determined, but, and then also conduct a community survey. And this wouldn't necessarily be a statistically valid survey, would be at a higher cost and would take a lot more time. So they typically do this community survey, so we'll be talking about how that gets out. So the proposal with the scope that's described in the document in the packet is for a total of $22,375 plus expenses, the expenses being travel and lodging, as she outlined in a email which I attached in the packet.
Do you have any idea what, except we want an in-person meeting?
Right.
We would incur the
I think,
expenses?
I think we have not to exceed 35,000, correct?
Yeah, we had contemplated it being a little higher, but so that certainly should be lower than what
Yeah.
that was indicated in that.
And they're out of the valley.
document.
This consulting group is out of the valley, correct?
She's based out of Northern Illinois.
Oh, no, okay.
So I'm just thinking travel and all that could get to be a,
Well, she said she tries to economize, and trying to do focus groups, back to back, so.
Okay.
You want to put a limit on it?
well, I'm just.
I thought we had, what did we approved a dollar number, I thought. And I thought it was 35,000. I thought the
Yeah, we
other,
talked about a number that we'd want to be under.
right, and the other bid was like 60,000.
It's quite a bit more, yeah.
A lot more.
We had
Yeah.
talked when we approved this to make sure that however we set this up moving forward, that we're minimizing travel and maximizing the time that's spent on deck here, so.
We thought this was a little bit more, intimate and maybe would handle a smaller community like this, I think, better too, so, okay.
Can they do some of the meeting on Zoom?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yep,
they
definitely.
do that.
I think they'll do a lot of it.
We prefer to have them in person on some of these stages. I guess that's for us to be determined, but I'm sure we're gonna wanna have some in-person stuff.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Well, there's some of them has to be face to face,
Right.
it can't be on Zoom.
Right. Okay,
Okay, well, that was my only concern is that the travel and expenses is to, you know, what that dollar amount is kind of.
so what are we looking for here? Are we looking for just information passing through?
Well, I guess this is asking for approval,
Yeah.
the scope that's outlined in the
Okay.
22,375 plus expenses.
Yep.
So with your approval, then you can sign the document tonight and be on our way.
What's your pleasure?
Motion approved.
A motion by Hardinger, second by Zagami. Any more in the discussion?
Okay, now did.
I just wanted to make sure that we make a deliberate outreach to the Hmong community. A couple months ago, Trustee Zagami pointed out that that the translators for voting had been a blind spot. So just wanted to be cognizant that we make a deliberate effort to include them as well.
Yep, I think we can make that phone call to Yi, and he can help us out with that. Good point. Okay, Husheng, you were saying something?
I did not.
Oh, okay, all right. Were we in the middle of, discussion? Any more in discussion?
Keith, so with this being approved, then when do you anticipate the first meeting with them to go over the initiatives or, because they say 30 to 60 days basically for that first phase. So does this mean?
Schedule gets started in August.
Right now they tentatively starts in August?
Right. So we're gonna find this, I guess she's put together a pretty aggressive schedule indicating to be done by the middle of December, so I don't know if that's doable. There's a lot of other things happening here too, so.
I think that probably depends on how much of the community outreach they plan on doing and how much time it takes to put that data together after it comes back so we can formulate a plan. But they've got down here 30 to 60 days, so if they're starting in August, by the end of October, we should have enough data to kind of start putting that together, it sounds like.
Yeah, I can forward you the schedule that she sent me, but focus groups should anticipate meeting in September. Community survey between August and September, so we get started fairly quickly.
Good. I'd say let it go. Yeah. Yep, if she's gonna charge at it hard, let's go.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so, we're still in discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. New business, number 37, wells 7 and 8, change order number 1.
Most approved.
Move to approve by Zagami,
Second.
second by Cronin. Any more in the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Number 38, business 51 streetlights.
Michael, can you explain or I should?
If you want me to go over, I can. So as part of the DOT's, initial data finding or fact finding with the municipalities, as they start designing, Business 51, they reached out to know if we would be interested in having, a municipal owned lighting system instead of the WPS lights that we have out there. So on the map, the green section that we would have would be essentially from Volkman Street up to Walgreens just before Schofield Ave. I guess as we talked about at Public Works, financially, it really doesn't seem to make sense to have our own lights out there. We already there are already lights out there that WPS owns and we pay them a monthly rental fee. And to change that out and put in our own lights, it seems like probably about a 50-year payback if that even ever happens. Cause we probably have a replacement of fixtures in between there too. You know, so we can add, I guess the request at Public Works was to, talk to WPS and see if there's maybe a gap that we wanna add an additional light or two in. But realistically, I guess I just need our board to officially give me a yay or nay on what I need to tell the DOT as far as if they should be looking at designing in a system for the Village of Weston, or if we want to pass on it. I know in talking with the Public Works Director at Rothschild, his initial reaction was they're likely going to be also be passing on having a separate municipal system installed, and instead, you know, try to work with WPS on any upgrades we may want to do, you know, to go to LED lighting or something like that.
That Tim Vigera?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else in the area that's doing that currently? I mean, why are they trying to push this off? Just liability or what?
No, it's just a question, I guess they ask, you know, sometimes, you know, somebody might want to put in decorative lighting as it goes through their downtown area or something like that. So it's just a question they ask so that they don't design a project and then a community comes in later and says, hey, wait, I want this lighting to go in, and now, you know, things maybe need to be redesigned.
So that makes more sense with decorative lighting or some kind of spot lighting or something like that. I can't imagine them coming to us, you know, trying to help us save money.
Yeah.
You know, so it's gotta be the decorative tone or to give it a different theme or something like that.
Yep.
And if we did it separately and not with Rothschild or Schofield, that looks a little silly. You know, I mean, wouldn't we start and stop in some of those sections there because it's Rothschild, Schofield, Weston, it goes back and forth a few times.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd say passing would be on my opinion.
Chief Schultz, are there any safety issues from a traffic concern?
Public Works talked about this quite a bit.
Okay.
And they just, you know, didn't feel the payback was worth the expense, because you're looking at almost 50 years to get our money back for it. Well, by then you're gonna be replacing the lights, you know.
Okay.
I think I should suggest to WPS to replace the lighting, LED, because that decreased the cost from 7,000 to 2,000.
Right.
Humanity.
We don't get that savings though. That'd be if we owned the lights. You know, I believe, what would I have in here?
Well, it's going to be the same.
But then they would
thing
save,
today.
at least they would save.
WPS would save, yeah. So we pay $22.75 per light. If they go to LED, I believe we pay, you know, $20. So we do save like $2 a light a month. So there's a small savings that WPS passes on. But,
Well, I think it's still they should do it. If we're gonna do it, first of all, they should change those lights anyway, without, even if we don't ask for it.
Right, right. It's a new project, yep, I agree.
if we wait 4 years until the project goes, you know, is done, my guess is most of those lights, WPS is gonna change out anyways on their own.
Sure they will, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, there is a construction, I think WPS will do. Whatever, they upgrade it,
Correct, yep.
so.
Especially if they have to relocate a pole or do anything like that, so they likely will be upgrading their lighting to LED anyway.
I moved to continue working with WPS to rent the lights and work with them to upgrade to LEDs and fix problem areas as necessary.
Motion by Cronin,
Second.
second by Zagami. Any more on the discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? So carried. Weston Avenue, Alderson to Birch, engineering design contract.
So again, this is a joint project with the Village of Rothschild to redesign Weston Ave from Alderson to Birch. The Village of Rothschild did approve the intergovernmental agreement at their board meeting at the end of June, which included the design cost from MSA for the 266,800. It's broken out where 128,706 would be the Village of Weston share, and the 138,94 is the Village of Rothschild share.
Pleasure.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by Hardinger,
Second.
second by Zagami.
This is just for the designs we talked about last month. We were waiting for them to vote on it, right?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, so now we're good to go.
Any more on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So carried. 40, yep.
You're a little bit fast for me, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
There is other costs with this project. I think we should bear in mind is coming up. There's gonna be a construction inspection.
Mhm.
That's gonna be a significant amount of
Okay.
cost. And I think our costs gonna be higher because we got the sewer and water also. So as long, we bear in mind it's gonna come back again.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just the design. It doesn't include any of the construction costs.
Okay. Thank you. Number 40, multi-use path installation by Village of Rothschild within right-of-way on Volkman Street.
I guess it may be easier with a map. The Village of Rothschild and City of Schofield are, had received a grant from the DOT to install a trail network connecting Rothschild's existing path on Volkman Street, which ends just south of Highway 29. And then continuing that north, going behind what is now, I guess, the VA Center, which used to be Shopko, and then continuing along the railroad corridor out to Schofield Avenue. So that portion of Volkman Street on the north side of Highway 29, that east side is in the Village of Weston, the west side is in Rothschild. So they're, I guess, requesting use of our right-of-way to install their path. We have a similar situation with our pedestrian bridge on Birch Street where it's our path, but it's in the Village of Rothschild.
It was a continuation of the path that was put there a couple of years coming down off of, from Weston. From Weston toward, or on Volkman.
Yep, correct, yep, north of Weston Avenue there. And they would maintain it, any costs with snow plowing and crack sealing, those things, it's their path, not ours, it's just in our right of way.
What's the cost to us, anything?
There's no cost to us.
It's no cost, we just need to let them.
We just need to let them put it in our
right away
community, yeah.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Hardinger.
Second.
Second by Cronin. Any more in the discussion?
This project is all grant, and Schofield was kind of leading this project. And I think it's gonna be used by Rothschild, Weston, Schofield, maybe Red Mountain.
Good.
Everybody gonna use this project.
Yep.
So.
Good.
No, it's a good thing, definitely.
Good positives. Yep. Working together. Any more in the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Number 41, status of TID 1 and options for closure versus remaining open. I had this put on the board or on the agenda. Several months ago, we talked about possible portions of TID 1 that's not gonna, that doesn't have a use, and what would be the options? What would be the differences if we pulled some of these pieces out versus leaving them in? What would be the savings? What would be returned to the tax roll? What would it do to the whole TID 1? So that's where we are on that.
I think the part of the report that jumps out at me, and I know what happened in TID 1, way for the economy it is, it's to close parts of TID 1 now could result in falling short of debt repaying capacity before 2032. If something unexpected occurs, which could result in the remaining debt becoming an obligation for all taxpayers of the village. And that is what almost happened with TID 1. When the economy bottomed out, the state came through and they lowered the assessment value of TID 1 for that class of buildings. We did not have enough money to pay off the debt. That's why it was extended another 10 years, because we did not have enough increment. And that is what I'm a little concerned with on TID 2.
Well, just a little bit more background. Some of the discussion that Keith and I had, I felt it was kind of lifted up a little bit by some board members and staff a little bit. And I just thought there was no finality to it. And I just thought we should, get it in here and get it into the board so that we can at least address it, at least talk about it. Several months ago, it was brought up that, yeah, we could take a few pieces out. Yeah, we could do this to it, kind of mold it, shape it. But then what would it do to the whole TID 1? And I just felt it was important that everybody hear this and everyone kind of go through this exercise to see, why we're doing this. There is a little misnomer on there when, you know, the 12% of equalized property value that the state statutes limit, you know, the communities to having. Every time it's reported or talked about, you know, we're at 21, at one time I think it was 28 or 29%. It looks like, you know, what happened here, how did we approve more than 12%? We didn't. We only approved 12%. But because of TID 1's worth and how it's excelled in value, now it is worth at the 21%. A while ago, how much was it worth? Wasn't it at 28, 29, or 24 maybe?
It was a little higher than
Yeah.
21.
So the 21, I mean, you feel like, almost like we did something wrong. We didn't do anything wrong. It's 12%. But the value of TID 1 has grown so much that it's now, it is 21% of our village. So, and that's including TID 2 also, correct?
These are, well, TID 2 is another 2.5%.
2.5%. Here, okay, I see it right there.
I was kind of shooting from the hip a little bit on some of these percentages and numbers, so they're, again, it's just the general discussion. This would need, if there's a desire to look at this, then we should be engaging with probably Ellers, because, you know, Greg has done some background on this before. There's some detail that has to be looked at on every parcel, you know, what's the increment that's being generated or being collected. And, you know, it'd be a fairly time consuming effort, plus in the end, if we were gonna go forward with it, it would need a project plan amendment. I guess one of the things to be aware of is that there is existing debt in TID 1 that right now is scheduled to be paid by the end of the closure, end of the TID life, correct? Out to 2032.
2031 is our last.
2031.
Payment of debt.
Now we're paying off those obligations, but at the same time creating more fund balance. We have proceeded with the design effort on Weston Avenue reconstruction and had this then indicated that to be our highest priority in TID 1. So by making a subtraction, we want to make sure we could cover that debt, any debt that we may take on for that project through the end of the life of the TID. We also have to keep in mind we have the pending Marshfield Clinic challenge on property taxes, which is about, I think we collect about $1 million from them every year, give or take. That's a tax equivalent payment. We'll be talking about that a little bit in closed session later. So those are things that would have to get factored into any thought of, you know, how much would be sensible to think about removing.
Well,
Go ahead, you started.
I can remember when TID 1 was doing so great, and the administrator at that time was talking to the finance committee about taking some property out and putting it back on the tax roll. And we had auditors and such on that committee at that time. And they expressed the concern too, is to make sure, don't just jump in and do this. We have to do this at a pace where we're not jeopardizing, you know, the TID. And it wasn't too long after that, like I said, when the value dropped out and we found we couldn't even pay the debt we owed, the debt service. So we had to extend it. And without doing that, we would have had that going right back on the tax roll. We'd have been paying. Yeah.
Steve?
Does that debt repayment in 2032 include the debt that we're going to take on, projected debt for Weston Avenue?
So the hope is that with our current fund balance, we wouldn't have to borrow more. I'm hoping that, like you said, it's a couple of years out, we'd have the full project done and we'd collect enough increments so we wouldn't have to borrow.
Okay.
So just to give
We're
you.
trying to cash flow it instead of with interest rates. We really don't want to borrow more for that.
Sure.
The total debt outstanding, if we said we want to close no matter what, the debt's not callable till 2025. So that means for this year, 23 and 24, we owe the full interest and principal on that. And that would be $4,624,238. And then in the year 2025, we could pay off the debt, and that's $11,080,000. So the full amount we need in our bank account to pay off the debt in 2025 would be 15.7 million.
Okay.
Now we're talking about a $20 million project.
Right.
The increment that we collected in this year was 6.3 million. There we go. 6.3 we collected a property tax increment in 2022.
Well, in line with what you said, Keith and Barb, I would need more information to find out if we are gonna cut something out of it, that we're not jeopardizing what we're,
Yeah.
or if it even makes sense, I don't know. And with
To me,
the
it does.
economy and everything that's going on right now with inflation, I just would hate to make a decision and then 6 months from now or a year from now, it bites us.
But I have these conversations weekly, with single, residents, people.
Too.
And I just thought it's just important that we all talk about this when we're supposed to be talking about it. I mean, I can talk to anybody I want, but I just think we should, have this done up by staff or possibly Ellers so that we understand all the ramifications.
Yeah.
If we change anything or pull something out and, not leave it in, so. And that's why I pushed for it to go on here. Looking at it now, is it as descriptive as maybe I should have had it written? Probably not. It's, but I wanted to be able to do anything here at this level, so.
Can we make a request at the next meeting to have that information?
A little deeper?
I don't know that we can have it to the detail that you're perhaps expecting by that time. We'll have to talk with Greg.
Talk to Greg,
See how we
maybe-
get this,
Maybe,
how we get that information, the table.
maybe not next meeting, but the next one. Okay.
Get a better idea what kind of timelines would be involved.
Well, it'd be nice to have a couple scenarios, with
Yeah.
this piece taken out, what does it do? If this piece is taken out, what does it do?
I think what I perceive would be desired, we would look at what it would look like if we took on the project we're proposing to do, the Weston Avenue project. And, scenario one, the one that, in fact, it's the one that Greg has recommended, it's a more conservative view. Do the project and pay off the debt as soon as we're able to or pay it off, I guess, without taking on new debt. The other way would be to pay for the project, but carry the TID through the end, but take some to the 2032, but then take some property out. That's the more risky and probably the estimate or evaluation that's gonna take a little more time. So,
I think we have to remember though, once we're done with Weston Avenue and we have enough money to pay off the debt, we either choose to do more projects or close the TIF. We can't accumulate the funds in TIF one. So at this point, it would be best, unless we have a super duper project, to close the TIF as soon as we can, because we really would appreciate the extra levy.
Right.
Right.
I agree.
And I think that's the whole thing is we gotta make sure when we do this, that we're not jeopardizing, if we can pay it off and then we're clear, we can do what we want.
Because the reason it was extended to begin with was because there wasn't enough money to repay it when the value
Right, because
dropped.
of the value of the properties had been lowered by the state, not by us, by the state. They came in. And what that did is it just dropped the bottom out of the revenue we were getting from it. So that was very scary. That was, and I'm probably one of people that would just love to get a break out of this. I've been the property owner here since before this was formed, so,
Well, I think it's a very realistic. The next year, there's a lot of things pointing to that possibly happening again. So, I don't.
Yeah, well, that's why I just, I'm just so leery because we were headed down that path to take some properties out and then this happened, And so I'm probably more leery than the average. Yeah.
You just don't wanna jeopardize the position we're in with the village.
I personally had a different mindset until I saw the closed session item for tonight, and that's kind of changed my.
Yeah.
At least until we get that ironed out personally.
At least have some options to weigh that on. It sounds like Jessica and Keith have a good idea of what those are. We give about 2 months to put it together, and if there's areas that we can cut out and feel it.
What again? What?
With TID.
Yeah, scenarios and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying, I mean, no, we have lots of parcels on TID one, so. Yeah, you certainly wouldn't wanna probably take out those that are generating a lot.
Right.
Great amount of increment right now either. I guess we got, so again, there's an analysis that's gonna have to go into this and kind of, go through a menu of some kind.
I think it's important that we stay with the Weston Avenue project.
Yeah, I think that's
After
important, too.
that's done, we can take another look and say, okay, what can we do if we've got enough money to pay off the debt? Pay it off and close it.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay,
Do we want to revisit it later on this year, maybe?
Sounds like,
so I think when Greg could, maybe
So you want us to,
2 meetings or 3 meetings
you
from
want
now.
us to proceed with coming up with a plan on getting this analysis done?
Just the analysis, just to show us what it
Just
is.
some options maybe,
Sure.
yeah.
And it's gonna be primarily Greg, correct?
Well, he's gonna be involved in it, but yeah, we probably
And
involve our
Jessica?
GIS.
Okay,
Um,
GIS, okay.
The biggest thing, like, it's easy, I'll just take the parcels out, but remember there's a base value for every, so we can't just take the tax bill of, say, the house bill and say, oh, this is all increment.
Right.
But you have to remember there's a base value, so that's what we're gonna be looking at is the parcels. And I'm hoping Nate would be able to help us and get the parcels that are in the TIF. And we probably use Greg Schmidt a little bit to get the base of them and hopefully be able to compile some numbers for you guys.
Okay.
So along those lines, the base value has to remain above 15,241,000 according to that bond covenant, right?
Mm-hmm. Our total value. The base value is at 38.
and if that bond isn't callable, I don't know as if we wanna pay out that kind of interest in what now, I'll just,
Well, you won't pay out additional interest, you'll have to pay the interest and principal up to the point it's callable, then you can not pay that interest and just pay the principal at that time that's due.
Okay. All right, I don't think any action has to be done. Okay. Moving on. 42, approval of 60% plan for phase 1 east of Weston Avenue reconstruction from Ryan to County Road J. Your pleasure.
Michael was gonna,
Oh, presentation?
it's a little, give you an overview, I guess, of the plans and kind of the typical section that's being used and so forth. He did have a report in the.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what level you want here. So the Weston Avenue corridor plan, we went through that last year. And the typical section that was picked out for that Ryan Street to J was just this kind of animated 2-lane road with a 5-foot paved shoulder and a multi-use path. Now, as we get into the design drawings, it's more or less exactly the exact same thing. It's, 2 12-foot drive lanes, 5-foot paved shoulder, a ditch section, and a multi-use path, all on the north side of the road, running for that entire duration. Grab the plans up here. There are select turn lanes at currently shown at Ryan Street, Zinzer, Progress Way, and then County Road J. So at those, intersections, the road does widen out a little bit to accommodate that turning movement, so that the, through traffic can still be free flowing while the, and not back up traffic moving forward.
If we run the utilities to the north in front of a lot of those buildings there, would it be then easier, instead of doing utilities on the north side of the road with all that dewatering? I mean, would it be easier to put that path in versus utilities, lower in the ground? And then how do you stabilize that path?
The path through the wetland areas likely will be like a boardwalk.
Okay.
So I guess kind of the expected DNR requirements as we go through there.
Okay, so not to disturb and not to backfill or anything like that?
Correct.
So if the decision is made to run the utilities north a bit and then down the country fresh meats or something and back.
Yep.
The boardwalk, okay.
Yeah, and then those utilities would stay more or less in the high ground too, so there'd be less wetland disturbance and.
And the connection from there, regardless of where the purchase is, would be coming from there versus from the road. And then in every case, it would be coming through the water. So let's say we got it there buried and now somebody needs it. Would that already be stubbed in? Or would they have to then go back down in the wetlands and?
Yeah,
So by going to the north, it'd be way, way better.
Correct, yeah, or we'd have to, extend, maybe long laterals as part of the roadway construction so that, we try to get it water. So we try to get out of the water.
Okay, so initially we would do that, so we would spend even more money, just getting those laterals to high ground.
If that's what we're looking for, yeah, so we do have, AECom also looking at a, cross-country, alternative for the, water and sewer lines from Progress Way out to, County Road J. 'Cause the roadway itself through that segment is primarily wetlands on both the north and south side, there's nothing buildable. But, there are properties that, Sunbelt Rentals and Roland Machinery currently are up by the highway. They're on private well and septic. There's also some vacant lots in there, so, if those ever were to develop or redevelop into something else, I guess logistically, having water and sewer kind of follow more towards the highway there instead of on Weston Avenue, probably makes the most sense. And then, we'd get the water main back down onto Weston Avenue at J.
Goes back towards the highway is dry.
Correct, yeah, it goes uphill and it's dry.
Well, the DNR wouldn't sign off on them doing anything in the wetland in there anyway, would they?
You can do so much, and then if, generally for a roadway project, they will.
I'm talking about private or.
Yeah, private development is.
We don't really have to worry about that, so it kind of makes sense really to go to the highway and go over from there.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, because DNR is not gonna sign off on them messing with that at all, so it makes more sense to go toward the highway.
Yeah, I can step through this, kind of, the project here is slated to start at, Ryan Street, as shown with 2 turn lanes. I know at the Public Works meeting and Plan Commission, trustee Zagami brought up the idea or thought of putting in a roundabout at that intersection versus the, 2 left turn lanes and the stop intersection on Ryan. If that's something we wanna.
Ryan or Jay?
Ryan.
No, Ryan, yeah. Thank you.
So, if that's something we want to further explore, we can do that. Would likely then start that east phase, a couple hundred feet then east of that intersection, so that could still stay on track for a spring 2023 bidding and construction next year.
Could we get some funds from, the state and federal are excited about roundabouts. And that would be a natural slowdown on Weston.
Yeah.
Chief, it's a touch versus a T-bone on the roundabout, right?
Yeah, the traffic studies show roundabouts are safer.
Yep.
4 ways.
I'm completely on board with that.
I think it's gonna slow down traffic significantly. Because people drive 55, 60 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah. We'll get a little pushback until they go through it a few times. It's not like we have 4 of them, on the 41 by De Pere or something. So it's one. And it will be a natural, somewhat of a speed bump, Yeah, I think it's a great idea. We might get some funding out of that. Roundabouts are big time. They like broadband and roundabouts.
Yeah, I guess the one thing with grant funding is, it's usually a several year delay. So this project we have, essentially 2023 and 2024 slated as the 2 phases construction year.
Well, if you could fit it in.
We can try to fit it in, or we can almost design, probably be an awkward design, but we could go with this as is, maybe not put the turn lanes in right away and, you know, if we want to look at a roundabout,
Yeah.
continue submitting that for a grant to do it that way too.
Is roundabouts normally funded by state or federal?
It depends, you know, there's state grants, there's federal grants.
There's a lot of money flying around in the state right now, so.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're asking $10 million out of that other program for those other street projects, so.
Okay.
You know, we are out there asking.
Doesn't hurt.
Back end, yeah.
Doesn't hurt to ask, yep, get our share.
So,
Just a
Okay.
quick
So,
question.
yeah.
Sorry, the multi-use path.
Yep.
That's the same design that we're putting on Weston, west of this development. That would be the next stage that we're talking about.
Correct.
One? Okay.
yeah,
It'd match up all the way to, all the way to.
so go all the way from X to J.
Why don't we get a motion up there and then we can discuss a little further?
Sure.
Sorry. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve 60%. Assume that's not final, there's gonna be a lot of change yet.
Motion by Zagami,
Second it.
second by Hardinger. Now, any more in discussion?
Have a roundabout at Ryan Street, intersection Ryan and Weston Avenue.
Definitely.
Put that into the designs, just as an option, in case you get grant, or even just to have an idea what the cost would be for the funding change.
I'd say that I would like to know what the cost is
Yeah.
gonna be.
Right. Oh, yeah, we definitely want to see if we gotta flip the bill. Yep.
What's the roundabout in Main Run?
Or waste
Roberts,
too.
True.
About $1.29,
For a roundabout?
right?
So if we just reconstruct the road and then put turn lanes there, that'd be probably considerably less.
Definitely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And Barb made a comment, four-way stop sign wouldn't be the worst either.
Yeah, that'd be.
That's slow.
Yep, get them just to slow it down a little bit, or put it right in front of, right in Zinzer there too.
At night,
Yeah, it'd be a little hard at night. Yep.
nobody's gonna stop.
Okay, yeah, well, especially after 30, 40 years,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, any more on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, so carried. Yep,
Just one more comment. I think AECom should talk to the Department of Transportation, see what kind of problem they had on 29. A certain part of it, they did have a problem,
As far as like pavement or,
a water issue.
sinking you mean? Sinking and,
No freezing.
oh, okay. I thought all the problem with 29 is on the west side of Camp Phillips.
yeah, like where.
That
it
seems
goes
to always
First
be-
Street.
It's always an area right there, and then the other one is east of Shawano. There's a really bad icy, but there and then on the west side of Camp Phillips is
That's a good question.
really tough, yeah. Okay, good.
AECom should know that with their.
So there's like a natural waterway underneath there or something?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's a
kind
real
of,
water.
cuts off the wetlands on both sides of the highway.
Okay, a standing request for any board member want any attorney referrals? Hearing
I
none?
thought I saw him.
What? Yeah, he's here, but that, we just always ask.
Okay, is this
Yeah.
where Keith wants to put the
Oh, yeah.
referrals to staff?
Is that where you want it?
on the agenda?
That's, I guess that'd be your option, but it would make sense if you're making attorney referrals, you can also do the same for any staff referrals as well.
Okay. So if I think I'm gonna have a phone call.
Administrator referrals, I guess, maybe?
If I'm gonna have a, so what are we trying to head off a little bit? I mean, so,
Okay, so
Can I still
I
talk?
know there's been some discussion also about a ordinance revision on the animal.
Yep.
What was it, what's that ordinance, Jennifer?
I'm not exactly sure.
yeah, she's working more with Emily on that?
Yeah.
I'm involved in it too.
Okay.
We're not exactly sure what this person wants. So,
Well, there's a new animal, can we talk about this right now?
Probably not.
Okay.
No, it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, but I'm heavily involved and so is Steve. And I think we with some conversation today, and I'll fill you in later, I think we got the direction correct. So, and then you can tell me I'm wrong afterwards, so,
I
not an open session.
think it should be directed by the board as a whole.
Yep,
For us
and that's what I told her, after reading Emily's,
No ordinance.
after reading Emily's response, that's exactly what I said. So, I think I've got her in the right direction. and then it's gotta come to the board, and then the board, you know,
Yeah, that would be
And-
better, just.
it'd be way better just to have a, what do you wanna call it, copy and paste type thing. So,
But shouldn't, if some, I guess maybe, I mean, I'm completely in the dark about what you're talking about. And this is something you got staff working on.
But we're not working on it.
well, we have, the board has not said anything on this. It's some community, people that have talked to our staff that wanna know why, and they're also talking to the owner, trying to get some clarity on how these animals are bred.
Okay,
So, yep.
but I think in this case, if it's, you know, I can see where staff is, if we're gonna have them working on something, it should come through the board,
I agree.
not individual
Yeah,
board members.
I'm gonna say it again, because I wanna make sure everybody understands that nobody has directed staff to do anything, because
Okay.
you're kind of insinuating that it is.
Oh, I don't know.
And I know, but I'm gonna answer you. I have not instructed staff to do anything, nor have you,
No.
correct? At
Okay.
all, right?
Right.
Okay, thank you. So I wanna just make sure that's very clear. And so now, we'll move forward on, as far as what I think they should do. They're extremely active all over the state, so, and we'll see what happens. So, but you're right, it's, the action has to come from, when we're all together, that's when we have power.
Yeah.
If we're individual, we have no power. To be honest, the staff could tell us to take a hike. But then I would rally really hard with the rest of the board members to say, hey, you should hear what they told me, you know? So if you don't wanna be treated that way too, we should all band together. So just teasing, of course. All right, so, okay, well heard though. Yep,
Put an item on
Yep.
for administrative referrals or staff referrals.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think just to have a little more organizational type thing.
Yeah.
And if you think you're gonna have one, but you don't know what it's about yet, you could just, say you're gonna reserve a spot for next week or something. Talk to them, so, all right, little humor, not much. Okay, so no attorney referrals, but we're gonna put a spot in there for, the board. And now we're gonna, move to closed session per Wisconsin statute 19.85, one parent G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. Attorney selection and strategy for Marshfield Clinic property tax challenge. Roll call vote,
Maloney,
here, or yes?
Ermeling, Cronin,
Here.
Yes.
Feeny,
Aye.
Hardinger,
Yes.
Zagami.
Yes.
Okay, we are in session. Selection. Okay, now, we're out of closed session and possible action, entertaining a motion for selection of attorney.
I'll move to select Attorney Matt Yee as counsel to represent us in the Marshfield Clinic property tax challenge.
So moved by Cronin,
Second.
second by Hardinger. On the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you all. Oh, let's keep going here. Remarks from trustees. Nate, any remarks? Thank you, Matt. You want somebody to drive up for you?
Nothing.
Okay.
You might just want to sit that out a minute.
Yeah,
I would say that
I am running right through that. I can't wait. I actually I want to be able to still run through it, so we gotta get out of here. So, how often do you get to do that, right? And I'm not going to work. Jasper, any remarks?
Sorry, none.
None? Hushain?
Yes, just a quick one. You asked me the cost of a runabout, I said 1.2 million.
Okay.
That was just a guess.
Oh, yeah, I know. Yep.
But if we can save one life,
I know.
that's 1.2 million
Yep.
plus.
Yep. Big time, yes. Yep.
So
I'm still on it. I'm still for it around the ball,
the
so.
other thing is, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, we're gonna meet with Mr. Deason to discuss the corner, clean up the corner of the.
Of the trees? Yeah.
And,
Yep. Plant some new ones. Yep. Yep.
Must have talked to him already.
Put some new ones. I'm just,
That's what I said.
I know what Deason thinks about those. I just know that. Because he came over to my house, him and Scott almost got
I
killed.
thought you were talking about a roundabout there.
So Hoshain, Barb, any comments? You don't mind if we keep going, right, guys? You don't mind if we keep going? No, it's fine. No, I just love doing that once in a while. Barb, any remarks? No? Okay, Steve?
I'm good.
And I have nothing. Welcome, new member. And we welcome Song also, so that's awesome. And future items, next meeting date, and kudos to all staff treating all the new people good. So thank you all very much for that. Very nice.
Can I
You're done.
back on that
No,
for
you're done.
just a second?
Next month.
So we had our county educational review, this last Thursday night, and we've heard from several of the directors from the county regarding, the attrition rate within the county itself. Apparently people are leaving there in herds. They lost like something like 60%. And they're down 40 or 50% applications from last year. I mean, I don't know what the hell's going on over there. But I'd just like to take a moment and say thank you guys for everything you're doing, all the department heads, all the directors, everybody. Because we don't have that problem, at least not yet. So, and we have people that are they're coming here. So thank you for everything that you're doing, and whatever you're doing, keep it up, because they're not doing it at the county. I don't know what they're doing over there, but they got some issues. So,
Oh, I guess it's being on that. When I come in on Tuesdays and
Yep.
do scanning and all that, and I hear and I want to compliment the staff and everything because they have been very welcoming, and you can hear them helping Pam, and when she's got a question and they're going through, and I hadn't gotten the chance with some because, well, she was gone, and then she's been kind of back in the back room, so I don't really catch that, but I gotta say, I was very impressed with staff and how well they have been cooperating.
I told Pam not to decorate your office, for, a couple months. And I see boxes everywhere, so hold me in.
Oh, well.
All right, so I have nothing but future items. Next meeting dates, August 15th, 2022 Board of Trustees regular meeting at 6 PM, and looking for motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn by Cronin.
second.
Second, I'm gonna give it to Ermeling.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So carried. It's 7:43.
That's close to a record.
I'm gonna make it.